order changeth, yielding place for new. Change is the only permanent solution to any problem. We've heard all this for so long, and we close this beautiful journey of digital transformation by talking about change management in session 16 with special reference to upskilling of public managers for Government 4.0. To understand the importance of change, we would first look into this session by decoding the various building blocks of the current ecosystem of digital transformation. We would look at how this ecosystem has come because of a paradigm shift in our thinking, in the implementation, in the skills required to handle this, and then we would look at the various kinds of upskilling required at various levels and some kind of approaches to each of these components, and finally what would ensure that this upskilling is a sustainable and a permanent process. There have been news around us, AI would enter our lives and will take up our jobs. There have been news around us that machine algorithms can create havoc. There have been news around us how vendor lock-ins are happening. There have been news around us with regard to several other issues. All these issues could be resolved if the workforce that is handling technology is capable and creative enough to address these challenges through proper change management drive handled and speared by proper training, technology teaching and other aspects like awareness and sensitization. I would not go to the topic if I do not summarize with you that how the scenario has changed because of digital transformation. Isolated technologies, e-government implementation seems to be a thing of past. Technologies are converging into each other. We saw that in Gov 4.0. Process driven generic off the shelf systems are out. We are now having data driving our algorithms or data driving the design of the process. Earlier process used to consume data and now data is consuming processes. Earlier we had push products, the products were being designed and pushed onto the lapel of the user. Now we have pull services where user themselves co-create or design or give feedback to have a new system. Earlier we used to have delivery points from center to state. Now we have disintegrated approaches where we have fog computing and edge computing helping us to keep the data. So everything seems to have changed and everything has become so complicated. As I said, we have dashboards, we have integrated operation centers, we have command and control centers, we have visualizations, and hence my decision maker needs to be in tune with proper effective usage of these new systems. Similarly, my public service manager is confronted by plethora of new advanced setup, like we have IoT based governance, we have smart safety and security, we have smart education, we have smart transport, we have institutional infrastructure which is totally delivered by smart utilities. So entire delivery supply chain has changed, putting pressure on public service managers to reskill themselves. Even our engineers are now dealing with new chipsets, are dealing with new kinds of sensors or modules or CPEs. They are handling data in a different way. The software engineers are becoming totally obsolete if they are not receptive to cloud technologies or the concept of data semantics, data analytics, data visualization, etc. Similarly, the designer too is going through a paradigm shift in its or her capabilities. Now we have to have designers who can think along with the citizens or other stakeholders to ensure that the design is co-created, so that testing and certifying is done in an agile manner, so that the systems are responsive to the change and are able to incorporate the latest aspects of governance and so on. Last but not the least, all these stakeholders should be aware of security and privacy by design and should ensure that the data they are using is anonymized, is not being used for wrong kind of decision making, etc. Hence, these rapid changes at technology front, at governance ecosystem front at implementation front are putting pressure on all levels to re-involve themselves, restructure themselves, relearn and reskill themselves, not at snail's pace, but in an agile manner. This agile skilling I would call as skilling 4.0, yes, directly from industry revolution 4.0. Skilling 4.0 I have put forth in 4 components. One is sensitization, spreading the awareness. Second is teaching, education to elevate right from the school level to university level. Training, all of us are going through training in terms of using premier institutes like IAPA to reskill public managers, public service delivery people, decision makers, decision implementers and so on. Last but not the least, even institutes should learn from each other and cross collaborate to ensure that whosoever is good at one thing is able to share and exchange information with another institute which could be good in another thing. Picking up sensitization in the beginning. To ensure sensitization and awareness happen of masses, we need to have local content, we need to involve educational institutes, we need to collaborate with local community, we need to run pilots with these communities, we need to create digital knowledge simulators. All this could be done so wonderfully in case universities handshake with institutes to bring up these models, so that life situations of the citizens could be emulated by these technology models. This is possible if collaboration with existing institutes and communities happen with the particular vertical. This would also happen in case dissemination of all this has happened through various forums like mandis or hackathons or conduct of quiz tests, etc. So, the whole idea is that the initiatives are co-piloted along with communities, and training and academic support in terms of HR, infrastructure and technology is provided by the institutes or the verticals interested in such kind of awareness or sensitization. So, in teaching, as I said, right from the school level to the university level, we need to ensure that our students are not just taught 3 hours, but are given soft skills also, where they have in their character aptitude, ethics, inclusion, leadership and the flair for unlearning and relearning. They need to be given technical skills about emerging technologies. They need to have business skills so that entrepreneurship is their second way of thinking. For this we need to have hybrid pedagogy, which is project based, which is experiential, where we have case simulations, where we have coaching, where we have job shadowing, where we have mentorship. Only then teaching would be at par with Skilling 4.0 vision to meet the new society, which is Society 4.0. Training is the third component of Skilling 4.0. So, in training we need to have online and offline classes like we are doing in this particular program. We need to sensitize the change agents about the changes in the ecosystem. We need to partner with so many agencies. We need to devise content and a comprehensive learning framework so that even the content and the pedagogy of training is responsive to the change of times. We need to have infrastructure that could have the latest technologies right at the training institutes, so that our policy makers and policy implementers and our CISOs and CTOs and CIOs are not taken aback when new technology comes knocking at their doorstep, for which we need dedicated training and academic support in terms of HR, infrastructure and technology, even for such training institutes like IAPA. So, to have an impact on the ecosystem positively, we need to have a sustainability plan for upskilling. Skilling 4.0, as per my limited experience, is based on 7 pillars. It requires high level planning, it requires partnerships and collaboration, it requires community sensitization, it requires learning, relearning, unlearning, reskilling, upskilling, it requires very strong leadership, which is visionary as well as empathetic. It requires decentralization of the whole plan right from center till local level, and it requires M, which is vitamin M of financial planning. That's all what we require to ensure skilling is effective, and that's all for us in digital transformation journey which we took together. Thanks a lot. It was such a learning experience for me. I hope for you too. Thank you. Jai Hind.